Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fantasy Points live stream. This is my second stream of the day. Holy crap, Graham, it's your second too. It's NFL draft time. I have juggled between putting up co-sell profiles for the prospect guide. By the way, co-sell 22, if you haven't ordered yet, gets you an extra 10% off the prospect guide. Just that. But just a little thing for you guys there at fantasypoints.com here. Go there and read Cosell's evaluations.
You put some big dogs up today here, didn't you?
What's that?
You put some big ones up today, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Jermaine
I had
Johnson, Penning.
Just like Greg sent me so much stuff, and he's like, oh, my God, I didn't send you Jermaine Johnson yet. And I know what his process is. Like, he'll see a player, but he'll only see one or two games, and he won't send it to me until he finishes, like, an evaluation. Well, we're going to have everybody up today. Jermaine Johnson, Daxton Hill, Penning, the Washington corners. So all like the high-end defensive prospects who are expected to go in the first 2 days of the draft are going to be available. And he told me he's going to continue sending guys after the draft, especially skill position guys, if they end up getting drafted maybe a little bit higher than people anticipated. So that the value of that for a dynasty player does not expire with the end of the NFL draft, because guys, we're going to have to update our rookie rankings. I mean, like those things get blown up after the draft. So we're going to update those. By the way, that's Tom and that's Graham. Good to be with everybody here on the eve of the NFL draft. But anyway, I've been putting profiles up. I've been chatting NFL draft. I talked to Cosell on the phone for about 45 minutes today. I've been texting guys.
Good dirt for the draft.
Oh, I got some
draft prop show here.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
I've been reading Twitter. It's been all NFL draft. I've been making plans for tomorrow, guys. I'm going to get remeasured for like a new suit. I've got a couple of weddings coming up. Tom, by the way.
Yes.
You and I don't know if you've ever heard this. I found out yesterday because I went to a men's store here in town about why I can't get a suit jacket that I feel fits me great.
Why is that?
Because I have a higher than standard drop. And do you know what that means?
A drop.
So what that is the difference between your shoulders and your waist.
Yeah.
So a standard suit that you buy off the rack is a drop 6, meaning your shoulders are 8 inches or 6 inches wider than your waist.
Okay.
What
are you?
I'm a drop 10.
Oh, shit.
You got no ass.
No, I have a big ass. It's just apparently my waist is thinner than my broad ass shoulders.
Oh,
that's a humble brag right there.
Yeah.
Well, I laughed.
You got that hourglass figure.
I looked up like what's a drop 10 suit, so I looked up like what's a drop 10 suit, and then like the picture they had with it is of The Rock.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's like usually reserved for the more athletic among us.
I
and
thought
I
you've
was
been
like,
doing Peloton, not military presses.
So my buddy texted me and was like, what does that mean? And I said, I think it means I got great tits. I think that's what that means. Anyway, I'm going tomorrow. The calm before the storm. I'm going to get all the co-sell profiles we have up. And guess what I'm going to do, guys? We're on Friday night, by the way, for the live stream. Let me do this. Let's throw our schedule out here, okay? Because Thursday through Saturday coverage of the NFL draft. Thursday coverage starts at 7:30. That's tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. Scott Barrett, Wes Huber, Nick. We got special guests on. It's going to be great Thursday night. Friday coverage, it's the three of us starting at 6:30, and we're going to start at 6:30 because we're probably going to talk best available, stuff like that.
And recap what happened the day before, too.
Recap, talk fantasy.
That one.
Saturday coverage, Scott and Wes are back. Jake Tribby's going to join them. That's on youtube.com/fantasypoints where you're watching this. Subscribe, rate, review, hit the notification button, all that. You'll know when we go live, okay? In addition to that, I'm going to be chatting in Discord tomorrow night. I don't know if you guys.
Probably.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to order up a pizza. It's going to be like great, and I'll be in the Discord.
Have a beer.
Yeah. Oh,
a beer.
A beer?
One
I'll
singular beer.
Yeah.
I'll drink precisely
The
one
world's
beer.
biggest beer, but yeah.
Drink precisely one beer and call 911. We're gonna have giveaways every day. Thursday, we're giving away a Ryan Tannehill autographed jersey. Hopefully, he doesn't get replaced in the first round of the draft.
You just jinxed it. No, they're going to go O-line.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Plus 250 or whatever that was.
Also giving away Onyx Vintage 2021 college football auto cards in a box. Friday, there's a Miles Sanders autographed mini helmet with Onyx Vintage 2021 college football autographed cards box. Saturday,
hopefully they don't draft his running back replacement.
Yeah, Friday. Oh, we actually talked about that possibility today on the live stream. Saturday, a Roy Williams autographed Texas Longhorns for all of you Texas fans photo poster and Leaf Memories college football autographs cards box. And then for the giveaways, head to Twitter, be on the lookout for the giveaway tweet from Fantasy PTS at Fantasy PTS, and tune in to be eligible to win. For today through Saturday, only use promo code COSEL22 for an additional 10% off the prospect guide only. It's only $25, but that knocks it down to $22.50. And also, I know this is NFL draft week, and the golf tournament is, let's just say, not a prestigious one.
Yeah, they timed it well. They timed it well, though. I appreciate that.
It's basically John Rahm playing against guys like us, but
yeah, it's John Rahm versus the Corn Ferry Tour.
Oh, give Abe Answer some credit, Joe.
Handsome Abe. My wife loves Handsome Abe. But anyway, our PGA content is exceptional. It's young, hungry guys: Dom Centurino, Hunter Vaness, Matt Gannon, Chris Murphy. Just Pat James is contributing. Just a great group of guys. Tom, you and Graham are throwing bets out there. And it's a really great package. Get your eyes on the PGA Final Points live stream tonight at 8 with Dom. And I think it's Matt Gannon tonight. So just make sure you throw those guys. They're rising stars in the industry, and really you want to get in on the ground floor. Okay, sales pitch over. Let's win some money. We talked about the what the fuck day was that? What was that? Thursday, Friday, last Friday?
Thursday? I think it was last Thursday.
I mean,
last Thursday.
It feels so much closer than it actually was. But we talked about like some things and how the markets are moving. Guys, Tom, I'm going to start with you. Not to put you on the spot here, but like, what have been some of the biggest moves in the last couple days? Maybe even in the last few hours that you've noticed in the markets here when it comes to the NFL draft and some of the draft props?
Well, I mean, the big one at the top, Walker is now the clear number one favorite here. The money's on him. Even Thibodeau is now the favorite to be number two. Derek Stingley's been getting a lot of buzz at 3 overall to the Texans. Texans are still a major wild card, and nobody really knows what exactly they're going to do. Trying to think a little bit down the board. It feels like the quarterbacks are going to be slipping here a little bit. Panthers are trying to trade out of 6. Some of the buzz is that the Giants are trying to trade out of 7. There's some teams that might, including maybe your Eagles, that might be looking to get up into that top 10 to get one of these receivers. We got Drake London, Jameson Williams, and Garrett Wilson all there, and there might be some jockeying there. Towards the back, Quay, he was the big mover today. He was. Yeah. There was a Matt Miller report that he wouldn't expect him to get past the Patriots at 21, which was a prop I added that the Patriots take a linebacker plus 425. What else, Graham? Can you think of anything else that's really been moving here?
Yeah, I saw the Quay Walker too. What was the Matt Miller report? Because I saw something from Tom Pelissero.
Well, okay. Miller said that he reached out to somebody that Walker won't be getting past the Patriots.
Yeah,
wherever they pick. They're candidates to trade back because the Cardinals are at 23 and teams might want to get ahead of them to take receivers. So the Patriots are candidates to trade back.
I know for a fact tape heads and I mean this not like I'm never going to be like
the Greg Cosell podcast or
no, just like in general like traditional scouting background. Hell, maybe even I don't know how people with more analytical draft backgrounds feel about this, but I do know tape guys. A lot of them like Quay Walker more than Nakobe Dean. I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah. Ooh, could we get a matchup bet on that?
There's been I thought that we might see some matchup bets. DraftKings I can't get access to for whatever reason, but the other books that I've been looking at, nobody's had matchup bets this year.
I'm telling you guys, man, these books do not want smoke. They got cleaned out last year, and they don't want to get rinsed again. If you're in Colorado and listening, Superbook has a couple matchups, but they're not great. Yeah,
Graham, what the hell is in your hair?
It's called hair, Joe.
Oh,
Wet hair.
Yeah, I went for a run after our pod with Scott.
We're all exercising.
Actually, we all exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dropped freaking 20 pounds since the season. If that gives you any insight of how shitty
How the
I am.
hell do you have 20 pounds to drop?
Dude, I put on weight, man. I put on.
Yeah, I was gonna say football season always treats me wrong, and then I shed it all off. And then August rolls around, and then I put my 5 to 10 pounds back on, and then slowly work it back off, and then it's just like a cycle anymore.
Nah, Joe, the biggest thing for me is I cut out beer. Like that was by far the biggest thing. It's been tough, man, real tough. But I cut out beer, and that's it.
So I actually do my.
So you won't. You might actually be having one beer tomorrow.
Oh I'm indulging tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's that's a special occasion.
Yeah, I mean, like for those of us who like to get a little lit when you're watching TV at night, if you want to save the calories but maybe risk a higher hangover, you switch to whiskey.
I'm a whiskey guy too.
But anyway, my weight's been down since last year, but I kept a steady workout routine through the NFL season, which I'm so fucking proud of. Like
I have got to do that next year. It's got to be so much better for your mental health too, because
it is. It was actually worse for my mental health. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I can't tell you how many goddamn times on a Friday I would hop on the bike at like 3:30 and be like, all right, take a deep breath, and you would be in Slack. He's like, oh God, this guy got COVID.
You got to get your phone away from you then, Joe. Whatever it is for 40 minutes. If you have
that's on you for put it on Do Not Disturb. I got the big Friday show with Scott and Johnny. I have to be on.
Yeah, you got to do that when you exercise. Clear that head.
Anyway, what I was thinking, guys, we would do today. You guys talked about how FanDuel has like these team draft specials.
Yeah,
I think we can just maybe go team by team and see if like there's something interesting. Like, what is the draft buzz? Like, is there a bet here to be made? And if it's not on the team, then maybe it's on the draft position for a player. I think we can use the team bets to try to build out what teams might be doing. So how do you say it? Is that fine?
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, we can go through some of their team needs, and I'm sure everybody has a favorite team, so maybe we'll hit everybody's team there.
Yeah. All right, let's start. We're gonna FanDuel has them in alphabetical order. These are from FanDuel Sportsbook. Position of Atlanta Falcons, first drafted player. I mean, supremely heavy favorite, -125 to a wide receiver. Almost every mock I've seen recently. I think I did see one that had them going Thibodeau. But we had Nate Standig on the Fantasy Feast podcast today, and he has Drake London mocked there. I've seen Garrett Wilson mocked there. I've seen name your wide receiver. You've seen him mocked to the Atlanta Falcons. I mean,
I think an interesting one would be offensive line. If Evan Neal falls, it kind of feels like he might be the odd man out. And or if they would trade back, if they trade back to the Eagles spot, whoever, maybe they're the ones that take Penning in the mid-teens. Plus 600, that was one I was kind of looking at as, maybe a long shot. I didn't give it out, but that was one because there's not much value there at -125, and they are a team that I genuinely they could go 100 different ways.
Yeah, they could take any position here. And Tom, I was looking at that too, because I think they could get Charles Cross. Maybe he'd sneak
potentially. I mean, it seems like the Giants and Panthers are sniffing all around him. Like, but even if that happens, like Neal could be the guy that maybe falls into that 8 spot. And
I mean, ideally they trade back, but yeah, I think if you're betting Falcons right now, I'm with you. O-line at plus 600 is nice to use.
And I mean, like a wide receiver makes so much sense. Like that team is awful everywhere, but like their wide receiver room is the worst I have ever seen. It is horrific. I mean, Auden Tate signed there because he thought he might have a chance to start. Auden Tate, I mean, obviously he was a Bengal, but he still couldn't get on the fucking field last year.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. Oh God.
Manny Smith. You know, you got
Olamide Smith.
Yeah.
Great player.
Tom, you just mentioned teams potentially getting in front of Arizona to draft a wide receiver. Well, that's what makes this one interesting, because the Arizona Cardinals, who are picking, I believe, 23rd,
Yep,
they are tied plus 300 wide receiver and offensive lineman at plus 300, and that is fascinating because those like late teens to the 20s are where all like the second tier of wide receivers, like maybe your Jahan Dotsons and your Christian Watsons and Treylon Burks, maybe Olave falls a little bit, although I think a team might love him, and all those really high quality but potentially positionally limited interior offensive linemen are going, and minus 300 is the number. Plus 300 is the number there.
Yeah, this one looks lined pretty well. It looks pretty good to me. I would probably lean receiver. Yeah, I could see them going Burks. Maybe he's that type that can play out of the slot here. They did lose Christian Kirk. Rondale Moore, we'll see how he develops. But, he was just a line of scrimmage type of player in his first season. But offensive line is probably the other need that I would probably look at. In that back half of the draft, there are some pretty strong interior offensive linemen, and it seems to be the one spot where they could potentially look there. But I'd probably lean wide receiver here, but I think it's lined pretty good here.
Anything, Graham, that you've been seeing here like that interests you?
No, I'm with Tom. That there's not. I don't know if there was. I don't know. I think receiver is probably the favorite, but they do need offensive line. They need D-line too. Their interior D-line is not very good. There was a tweet that came out from Johnny Venerable. I've never seen this guy before, but he's a Cardinals beat. And he said the Cardinals are infatuated with Jameson Williams, and they think he's a superstar. They could trade up for sure to go get him. But, I mean, like Tom said, they're in a sweet spot for some of those, like, second-tier guys. So,
I think Jameson Williams is a guy that a lot of teams might be wanting to trade up for. So, and they're, drafted a little bit farther down the board. I feel like they're going to be kind of stuck in no man's land there.
Man, at this point, I don't know if Williams is getting past, like, 12, 13. Yeah. Eagles might
I think teams are going to be looking at maybe, like, Washington, that's the kind of the team that, you want to
get past.
Yeah.
Now, remember, these teams do have information like, Washington likes Drake London, like stuff like that. But that'll be really interesting to see. And my Jameson Williams first receiver off the board bet is, I think it's live, man. Like,
absolutely.
One I would be kind of shocked.
Gave that out as well. It's still looking good here. That line has moved a ton here. It's still like plus 200. The first wide receiver off the board, it's a complete crapshoot. I mean, there's been some Drake London buzz here to the Falcons this week. It seemed like Garrett Wilson was kind of that guy, all week, but all draft process up until this week. So it is wide open for that top wide receiver spot.
Baltimore Ravens, defensive lineman plus 190. Offensive lineman plus 250, corner plus 340, along with wide receiver. I have seen multiple people suggest this might be the drop dead spot for Jordan Davis, which feels like a Ravens pick.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a Ravens pick. Big hog molly in the middle there. I don't know, man. Call me crazy, but I kind of like linebacker at plus 1,600. I think they could be in on Devin Lloyd. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, Davis does. I mean, that's the one. He was getting the over on his props were getting popped, up until this week, the last couple of days here. Now it's the money's, 14.5. It's all towards the under. I gave out 13.5 over, early in the draft process, and I'm sweating that one out. I'm glad that the Ravens are picking 14 though. It also feels like Davis might be in play for Seattle, and that's another potential spot where these teams could trade up. So, we'll see exactly where Seattle, what they end up doing. But Davis has kind of been linked to both the Ravens and Seattle here.
Let's go Buffalo. Buffalo, this is one I know you guys have opinions on. Tied for number one here at plus 210 is running back and cornerback.
I still don't get that. Yeah, I don't see Brandon being taken aback here. I bet corner at plus 250 last week. Yeah. I still think it's corner. They're in a sweet spot, man. I mean, I think Andrew Booth, Clemson corner's falling a little bit. Apparently, there's some medical stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're in a sweet spot for Elam, Gordon, the Washington corner. I mean, we talked about it last week, but I mean, between Levi Wallace leaving and Trey White getting hurt, I mean, their corner depth is not great anymore.
Yeah, the one concern I had, if Dax Hill might fall to that spot too. I did add a little bit of just them to take defensive player this week. I did have the cornerback, but I was a little bit worried that maybe they go Dax Hill because Poyer and Hyde, I think they're both 31, 32 years old at this point, getting a little long in the tooth there. So if the Patriots have been kind of the other spot for Dax Hill. If they would end up going linebacker, maybe he falls to them. But I'm with you, Grant. They're run too well to. I don't want to say reach for a running back, but they have too many other holes. I think they got to fill, and maybe they can get Kenneth Walker anyway, like at the tail end of the second round. So I just don't. I see them going defensive back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a team that's going to take a running back in the first round, this is it. By the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of other spots, but I mean, there was some Tampa buzz, but they just signed Fournette. They have depth. I mean,
I will be shocked if I know we're going to talk Tampa. I'll be shocked if they don't take an interior D lineman, either Devontae Wyatt or what's the guy's name?
The Connecticut kid.
Yeah, Connecticut kid. Yeah, I just bet
Jones.
Yeah, Jones. I bet his
Jones.
Yeah. I bet his under like 41.5.
Carolina, how about this one? We're not going to see many of these. Offensive lineman and quarterback are tied at minus 105. Next is D-line at plus 1,600. So either they're getting their franchise signal caller or they're drafting a protector for their future franchise signal caller. No in between, and they are well positioned to draft either with those three big uglies up there. And then, of course, I think it's looking like they'll be the team that'll decide where the first quarterback goes.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you anything different here, but I mean, I would love to maybe point out a long shot here, but it's, they're pretty set at wide receiver, defensive line, they're pretty set. Yep. They drafted cornerback early last year. So I think it's lined right. I gave out, Pickett stuff, a couple weeks ago. Sweating that out, I'm not feeling too great about it if they stick at 6. I think if they stick at 6, it seems like they're going to take one of these offensive tackles. I think ideally they'd like to trade down, maybe get that quarterback in the teens, and then pick up a second or third round pick, and then they can go offensive line there. So I think ideally that's kind of their strategy, but we'll see if anybody wants to get up to number 6. That's the big question of the draft, I think, at the very top.
I don't think I'd bet either of these. I don't think there's any.
No. Yeah, there's no value on either of those.
No.
Position of Chicago Bears first drafted player. This is when you really start to get into the weeds because Chicago doesn't pick the 39th overall. But wide receivers the favorite at plus 210, which makes a lot of sense because their wide receivers are, to borrow the scientific term, ass. And then corner and offensive lineman tied at plus 430.
Yeah.
I think you have an opinion on this one, Graham, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I bet Fox Bet took it down because it was such a bad line, but they had even money on Chicago to draft an offensive player, so a receiver, lineman, anything. I hammered that. That's gone now. I like O-line at plus 430. They got to help Justin Fields no matter what, between getting him some weapons or just getting him some protection. I mean, this offensive line has been bottom 5 for the last couple of years. They could be, the strength of this draft is, edge rushers and linemen. I've been reading a little bit about like some of these second round guys that are, falling out of the first. Tyler Smith being one of them. Trevor Penning, for whatever reason, I think fell. It seems like he's been falling a little bit. I know Cosell didn't like him either. And one more guy, the Central Michigan guy, Raymond. So they could be in play for offensive line. But I think, 39, they got to be in play for receiver between Sky Moore, Pickens, Christian Watson.
John Dotson. I think a couple of those guys are going to go in the first round.
I think Dotson goes first round, man.
Yeah, that's the question. Who's going to be there at 39? It's like, I know they've been setting the Pickens prop right at 38.5. a lot of these books are putting it right around that spot for these receivers because, it's kind of a hinge point there with the Bears at 39. So, if Pickens and Dotson and Moore are all gone at that point, I could definitely see them going offensive line. So it's going to be interesting. Who I think we're getting at least 6 wide receivers first round. The prop is now 6.5. Basically, even money, not even money, but like minus 115 to both sides. So, it's going to be right on that 6 or 7 range. And, the Lions are candidate receiver early in the second round. There's a couple teams that could do it right before the Bears. So if it gets picked over, they might not have any choice but to go offensive line.
Let's go to the Cleveland Browns, and similarly, a team that doesn't have a first-round pick, 44th overall. The top position here, line wide receiver plus 170, D line plus 250. But we're getting down the board where it's starting to get a little bit harder to see. Maybe something you might want to look to bet. Graham, we hit a big one last year between round 1 and round 2 with Philadelphia. Then maybe that's what you do with Cleveland. I don't have a strong read here at all.
Yeah, neither do I. And by the way, make sure you're looking early Friday morning. Some books will post like teams to draft, positions in that second round, and those markets are even softer than this. So make sure you're up and at it on Friday mornings because there's a great market. Yeah, I'm not going to touch the Browns or the Broncos, any of these teams until Friday.
The Bengals picked down at number 31.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
No. I was just going to say I'm in the same boat. I'm not. A lot of these teams that are picking don't pick till day the same. Colts. These. I don't even know if we need to really go over them, Joe. But I'm not really. I'd rather see how the board kind of develops after day on those kinds of teams in day 2.
Let's get to now. Let's see. I think Tom froze up for a little bit there. Let's get to Cincinnati down at number 31. Offensive lineman plus 100. Defensive lineman plus 170. Corner plus 340, guys. Still think the markets believe Cincinnati is going to be in the market of improving that offensive line, which they attacked aggressively in free agency this offseason. But this is also a spot for like Devontae Wyatt if he falls. Could be interesting for them there.
Yeah, I gave out the offensive line last week. It was plus 170, I think, in one of the books. It's between plus 100, plus 125. I mean, the big question is, are the Bengals done on offensive line? They did bring in 3 guys here this offseason. Are they totally done making moves? Do they want to start addressing other spots? Or are they just going all, let's just redo this whole thing? Jonah Williams is the only holdover that we're going to really have. That's the question you got to ask. But I think they're gonna spend one more spot here, especially like if Linderbaum, Tyler Smith, I think is another interesting one. He's he's a tackle coming in as a tackle, but I think Jackson Carman was kind of the same deal, like a guy that might project to be an offensive guard at the next level. So I think they take one more shot on offensive line and then start addressing their other needs.
Ryman, the Austrian, who went to Directional Michigan, is somebody Cosell really liked. And
older prospect. But
I was about to say, unlike Jordan Mailata, he's an older prospect, but like somebody who's probably just scratching the surface of what he can do athletically. But maybe a team like the Bengals is like, heck, we have a Super Bowl window now. Let's go with the older prospect.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's O-line or D-line. I mean, that's really it. Ideally, they trade back and try to get some more picks in on day 2. But yeah, O-line, D-line.
Let's now go to the Dallas Cowboys. Guys, offensive line. It's shocking for me, at least, to see a number like this for a team that's picking in the 20s. Dallas is picking down at number 24. They have a minus number on an offensive lineman. Isn't that wild? Just at 24. But they are right in the thick of it. For I think the 2 names that have been mocked to them the most are Zion Johnson of Boston College and Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M.
Yep. Yeah, and if Trevor Penning falls somehow too, I mean, they would definitely be in play. I mean, between, all their injuries in the interior and then, Tyron Smith's constant injury issues over the last year, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. I think the only other play here is receiver after losing Cooper.
I think there's a little bit of value on receiver here.
Yeah, I think plus 470 on receiver here is real nice. They're in that sweet spot for, Burks or any of these guys that fall. They've been awesome at drafting receivers too, as of late. So
yeah, I don't know if any books have taking a specific player, but yeah, I could see. Jerry's an Arkansas guy. We saw it just a couple years ago with CeeDee Lamb when he fell a little bit. I could totally, if Treylon Burks is available at 24, I think that's the only thing that might keep them from taking offensive line. But I think there's a little bit of value at wide receiver plus 470. But yeah, I might take a look to see if any books have Dallas specific picks. Maybe you can get a Burks for plus 800 or something. Maybe not that high. Maybe more like plus 600. But these teams that are further down the board, they don't necessarily have team specific picks. But wide receiver is the one I think that has a little bit of value here.
Denver doesn't pick to number 64. We don't even need to talk about this.
Pass.
Not going to be a running back, I can tell you that.
Yes, damn it.
Oh yeah, that's second, by the way, plus 380. Yeah, you can ignore that after they signed Gordon.
Yeah, they need to update.
Is there a way to split that?
This one I think we can almost skip to, guys, unless you want to but if you want to bet on quarterback plus 850, why don't you just put money on Malik Willis to be the second pick?
Yeah, that's the only way to play it. Yeah.
I mean, defensive lineman minus 430 for Detroit, by the way. That's a near certainty. Yeah,
I bet Malik Willis at like plus 550 or something like that to be the second pick back in March, and that's dead. Let's see what it is right now. It's if you want to do it, Joe, it's 43 to 1. It's 43 to 1 Malik Willis right now going number 2.
So. Graham, I think
why don't you just take that then if you're going to take 850? Yeah. Like I don't see them taking Pickett or they've had no votes for any of these other quarterbacks.
Could you imagine what their fans would do if they took Kenny Pickett?
He's Jared Goff. He's basically Jared Goff, just no upside.
Yeah.
The big question is, what are they going to do if they don't take Hutchinson tomorrow if he's available? Because Mr. Michigan. I
will say this though. I bet you their fans could talk them into Thibodeau because big name. I think they could talk themselves into that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Green Bay. Here's another one. Green Bay doesn't pick until 22nd. Minus 140 for a wide receiver. That's the sweet spot for the Jahan Dotsons of the world.
Yeah, I've had my eye on this one. I still think they could go D-line here, man. Yes. I mean, I've had my eye on this one. I think once we get off, I'm probably going to bet it at plus 430.
Oh, and then we can see our boy Kesenick on Twitter, Tom Kesenick from the NFFC, throwing an absolute shit fit.
Yeah, I'm with you, Graham. I just think they're probably, since their picks are like 6 apart, you have, Arizona, you got Dallas at 24. Yeah, there's some teams there that might take receiver. Yep. I think they're just going to say, let's get our wide receiver now at 22. Let's pick our guy. But maybe the board doesn't fall that way. Maybe they're stuck holding the bag there, and they're like, do we want Treylon Burks or Jahan Dotson? So that's the one scenario where I guess, if they aren't high on those guys, maybe they go defensive line. But if they have a guy, I think they're taking him at 22.
Yeah, that's the thing, man, is like all of all the mocks back in like early March had them going Olave there, which would have been great. But there's no way Olave is getting to 23 now. I mean, they might get caught out if I don't know. I think they might get caught out, but I think Dotson is probably the one, Joe, to your point. They got to get some juice on the outside. I think he's
Lazard's a certain kind of receiver, right? I mean, I think Rodgers trusts Lazard, which is very important, but he's just a certain kind of receiver. He can't run.
Yeah, right. I did see some. I don't know if it was the ESPN article today, the rumors and stuff, but they're apparently high on Taekwon Thornton. He's a MVS clone. So maybe they were also pretty high on Jelani Woods. I actually gave out a prop there, as a long shot, first tight end taken. So, I guess there's a slight chance. Maybe they just say, if none of their guys there that they like, maybe they just go defense in the first round and then they take their shots on these, kind of these project guys in the second or third round. I don't know if that would make Mr. Rogers very happy, but there's certainly a little bit of a possibility there.
Cosell loved Taekwon Thornton.
I know he did. That's why it just came to my memory. I'm like, I had to bring that up because I know, that was a great favorite.
Watch and I don't know if I would. You know how Cosell will answer a question like, well, I can't. I got the notion that Cosell liked Thornton better than Christian Watson.
Yeah, wow. I got the same thing. Yeah, he was bringing up, he's a South Florida guy. There's a lot of bloodlines down there. They produce these type of players. So yeah, I got the same impression that he was higher on Thornton.
So okay, Houston, position of Houston. This one is really interesting, guys, because this is basically a three-way split, and this is the third pick in the draft. 125 O-line, 125 corner, plus 250 D-line. That is fascinating, and I have this is another team that could draft whatever the fuck they want. I don't know. I have to imagine it's going to be one of those three players, one of those three positions. But it's the roster's so bad, they could be like, fuck, I like Kyle Hamilton, take him. I don't.
Yeah. If I had a crystal ball and you told me they drafted, Sauce there at 3, wouldn't be shocked. If they drafted a lineman, wouldn't be surprised. I have had. I think we talked about it last week. The one lean I had was Texans O-line. I think it was plus 220 when we talked last week. It's now even down with corner. So I don't know. I still really don't know what they're going to do at 3.
Yeah, I took a shot with Walker, Thibodeau, Stingley as the exact order, 31 to 30 plus 3,100. Just because there's been some buzz on Stingley, really rising up the board here at cornerback. But I'm with you, Graham. I could see them. I think I brought it up last week. I could see them going with one of the offensive tackles and then flipping Laramie Tunsil to the Saints and picking up extra picks in the draft. I could see them doing something like that. So they're one team that's been pretty tight-lipped at the very top. So I took my shot with that 3,100 one, but I could see them going a number of different ways here.
Yeah, they could do anything. By the way, what is the position? I know this is anecdotal, but what is the position that goes higher every year than they're expected to? Corner.
Corner
every year. You're like, Eagle fans were like, man, Stingley slips to 15. I was like, get your head out of your ass. Stingley ain't slipping to 15. It's not
getting past the only way the deepest Stingley gets is to the Vikings at 12.
Yes, 12 is the absolute deepest he gets.
And I honestly think people are mocking Trent McDuffie to the Eagles, and I'm like, I don't think McDuffie's making it past the Vikings.
No, he's going to Minnesota. Stingley goes in the top 10. So yeah.
So that it's that position. We'll talk Minnesota obviously here very shortly. Okay, let's do Indianapolis again. This is a team in the second round.
Yeah,
we can basically skip. Plus 170 offensive line, plus 250 wide receiver. Both needs for them. Offensive line all of a sudden is a need for Indianapolis at certain positions. All right, guys. Minus 1,500. I lit all my Ike Ekwonu first overall money on absolute fire.
I don't know if that's completely dead, but yeah.
I don't think it's completely dead.
Well, they signed fucking Cam Robinson to a 3-year deal today.
Yeah.
I know Cam Robinson stinks.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's complete. I still think Peterson probably wants offensive tackle. It's a power struggle there. We'll see who wins out. It seems like Balky's going to win out here, obviously, since Walker's the favorite, but I don't think it's completely dead, Joe.
It's not dead. Cam Robinson's not good. And they have a shit ton of money, and they got to spend it somehow. They still have a shit ton of money after giving Christian Kirk $500 million.
Jacksonville first drafted player, defensive lineman, minus 1,500. That's obviously going to be the shortest odds of the entire draft here.
Yes.
Good luck if you want to bet on this one. Position of Kansas City first drafted player, wide receiver or defensive lineman. Why good luck? Because they have back-to-back picks.
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this with your Eagles though. If they trade up,
yes, that's always a possibility.
So that's why receiver has to be number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave this out. I just threw a little bit of money on corner at plus 500. desperately need corners, man. I mean, they just lost Ward. They lost Mike Hughes too. I mean, they got to defend these receivers in the AFC West somehow. So I do like corner at plus 500 if you're looking for value. But I'm with you, Tom. I think ultimately they're going to trade up. They're going to go receiver.
Totally fair. Like I think a lot of people love like Howie Roseman trade porn. Like, and Kansas City's kind of in a similar, but it's just a little bit lower down the board situation. Could you trade up, then recoup some value by trading back?
Yeah.
Like, and Kansas City could certainly do that as well, especially if a team likes maybe Desmond Ridder at the end of the first round. So it's certainly possible that they could pull that off. The Raiders don't have a first round pick. So the Raiders don't pick until, oh my God, they don't have a second round pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they have any. Their third round, I think, is the 86. I think.
Yeah, 86. All right, yeah, we can skip that one. Can you imagine what kind of degenerate is betting on that right now?
You imagine you waited a couple years for the draft to
come
to Las Vegas, and you got to stop your hands for a couple days.
Hey, you know what, Tom? They got to be.
That's true.
Devontae Adams will be a fine consolation prize for them.
And I think you can find other things to do in Las Vegas if you're waiting for the draft. So there's some fine establishments around there that you can, waste your time at.
Watch out for Kayla at Caesar's Palace.
Oh boy,
Lord,
assassin!
What a killer! Los Angeles, the Chargers. They're going to keep the plus 125 offensive lineman, plus 300. It seems like a Hog Molly's kind of draft for the Chargers. Lineman, offensive lineman, plus 125. Defensive lineman, plus 300. The Chargers are picking there at number 17. That's where some of these like big-time interior linemen could start coming off the board. I know Penning's been around. He is, based on the evaluations that I have heard, he is exceptionally polarizing, but there might be some teams who love him because of his measurables. But the Chargers' offensive line is the favorite position here to continue to protect Justin Herbert after they absolutely hit their first-round pick out of the park with Rashawn Slater last year.
Yep. I think, I ultimately think they take O-line, D-line, but plus 430 for receiver, Chris Olave with Justin Herbert would be just unbelievable. I think they're in that sweet spot, but that's the only.
They just took Palmer last year,
and they signed Big Mike. Yeah,
I know, but man, I mean, just go all in on getting Herbert weapons.
I know what you're saying. It has to be a lineman draft though for them. I don't have a lean one way or the other. It's probably offensive line, but maybe Penning goes before them. Maybe they. The guys that they want aren't there. So I would have said, Jordan Davis before, but it kind of feels like he's not getting past the Ravens now. So this is one I'll probably stay away from. But probably lineman is probably the way to go here, but not a ton of value left here.
The Rams, do they even have a pick in this draft?
They made a sweet video though.
Yeah, they did.
I think they pick at the end of the third. I think that's their first pick. Yeah, 104. They got a. It's actually
a pick, I guess.
Yeah, it's a comp.
Is that from Brad Holmes being hired by the Lions? Yes, that's what it's from. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Have fun. Miami.
You know what's weird though? I do those betting reviews at the end of the season, but we always talk about how they have no picks, but it was them and the Vikings over the last 5 years that have had the most picks in the draft. Like they don't value the picks at the top. They collect all these picks at the end and just try to hit a couple doubles, triples at the end of the draft. And it's been pretty successful for them. So I know what you're saying. It's like a common joke. Oh, but they've had a lot of picks over the last 5 years, and they have a lot of picks at the end of this draft.
Yeah, you can't really hate on it too because it has definitely worked. I mean,
yes, they've hit a bit of a sweet spot, but it's 104. I don't think we should be laying any money on this prop.
Okay, let's go to Miami. Offensive lineman plus 210.
Speaking of not laying money on a prop here.
Yep.
Oh, you're not betting this?
Well, I mean, they don't have any picks either. So.
Oh, that's right. Tyreek Hill.
They don't. I think they pick
102.
102. Yeah, they're right in front of the Rams. I was just looking at it. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, they traded it to the Eagles. Of course. I was like, wait a minute. They didn't trade their first.
Waddle. Yep.
Yep. All right. Minnesota, oh boy, corner minus 125. Receiver plus 340, Tom. Feelings getting up there. I know they like KJ Osborne, but I mean, I don't think I've seen a mock where they haven't taken a cornerback.
Yeah, I was able to get this, I forget what it was, plus 125 or something last week. Not surprised to see this move. I did add, I think the defense was like plus 100 or something too. So I add a little bit of that in case they go Kyle Hamilton here and we miss out on the cornerback. But it seems like secondary is going to be the spot that they go here.
Yep. I think they're going to go corner.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna bet this, the value might be on safety, but yeah, you're right. Good call there, Tom. New England plus 250. Here we go with that Matt Miller report. If you buy into it, plus 250 corner, plus 350 receiver, plus 340 offensive lineman. Excuse me, both of those plus 340. D line plus 430. Here we go, linebacker plus 430.
Yeah. They've taken linebacker in the first round before. I mean, they're in a sweet spot to do it now. I think if you're going to play Patriots, it's linebacker.
Yeah, they have a major need there. I mean, it feels like Devin Lloyd, I gave out that prop, his under. It doesn't look really good right now, under 18.5. He's been kind of all over the map, but they have a couple different outs there. If Lloyd, Quay, and even the Kobe Dean, if they trade back and recoup some picks, and maybe they just pick him at the end of the first round or early second round. So they have a number of outs there. Plus 430 is pretty juicy to me. I was looking around at the other books; they're all sitting around plus 300. So I'm kind of surprised that it's still sitting here at plus 430. I would probably jump on that, if I could. It seems like a lot of value right now.
The Saints are interesting. Receiver to help Jameis Winston at plus 210. Or a quarterback to replace Jameis Winston at plus 210.
Yeah, I got to lean on this one. I bet them to take O-line at plus 300. I think they could move up here and get one of their guys. I mean, after losing Armstead, man, I don't know. I think O-line, they obviously have so many needs between receiver and O-line. They could use some corner depth too, but man, I think it's O-line for them.
Yeah, this is another one of those teams. It's they're picking just a couple, 16 and 19. So
yeah,
I get why wide receivers probably ahead, just because we think there might be a bit of a run here, right in that like late top 10, early teens here. The offensive lineman run is going to be before, in that top 7-8 picks there, but they have the Chargers in front of them. This is, if you let Penning slip past you there, you let the Chargers take them in front, after you, and then you're kind of left, high and dry at 19 if you were looking to take an offensive tackle. So yeah, I'm kind of with you, Graham, here. Plus 300. I'm talking this out as I go, and you don't let the Chargers to take your guy when you had a chance at 16.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of nexus for that trade is they know the Chargers need line too, and I think they wanted to sneak in and get ahead of them.
Yeah,
the Giants, they are picking at number 5 overall. The 5 and 7 they pick. Offensive line, a pretty heavy favorite here, guys, at minus 125. But defensive line is plus 250, which could be interesting if Aiden Hutchinson falls down the board. Corner is plus 340 with Sauce Gardner, but they have been linked, I think, pretty extensively, I believe, to Charles Cross.
Yeah, Cross has kind of been the name. He was at their pro day. They were talking him up. That's been the top guy that's been linked to them, and it's from all the everything I've been reading and hearing. It's they want to take him at 5, take the offensive lineman at 5, and hopefully trade pick number 7. So. I think they're going to get the guy they want at offensive line at number 5, and then see what happens at 7. If if they stay there, they'll probably go Sauce Gardner. So I think it's O-line is the bet here. Minus 125. I don't think that's the word. I'm not into laying negative prices. With these types of bets, but I think it's pretty strongly that they're going to go offensive line here.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
The Jets. Defensive line plus 125, corner plus 300, O-line plus 300. Now, I think everybody in their grandmother's mocked Drake London to them, but with their second pick. I heard a little bit of buzz today that the Jets are in love with Jermaine Johnson.
Really?
In love.
Huh. Yeah.
Now, of course, like with those, but I mean, maybe Jermaine Johnson's individual prop, but I heard they love him. Yeah. And I don't think he's getting to 10.
Well, I made a bet back in March that under Jermaine Johnson on 20, I think it was 12 and a half. So I'm thrilled with that.
I think you're going to win that one, buddy.
Yeah. I got that one. So I don't know. I think that'd be real early for Jermaine Johnson. This is backed up, right? I think they were favored to have a corner last week because they loved Sauce too, apparently.
Yeah, I just think it's because of the Hutchinson stuff that this, one of these top, Thibodeau, Walker, or Hutchinson might be there for them to take at number 4. And then, Joe's talk about Johnson here. It seems like it's the spot where they're going to go here. Maybe they. I'm with you. I didn't know the Johnson stuff. I mean, that makes some sense. Johnson's kind of been laying in the weeds. Like everybody else is getting all the talk. He's a sneaky.
He's like the NFL scouts guy, They love Jermaine Johnson, and I know Cosell loves Jermaine Johnson, and I just heard a little bit of talk today that the Jets love Jermaine Johnson.
Okay, well, that's a nice little tidbit there.
I might let me see. As a matter of fact, let me just see what his odds are. Bovada has him at plus 300 to be the 4th overall pick.
Do they have any top 5 picks for bets there?
Let me see here.
Might be the way to go too.
Yeah, just make sure is he a top? Oh, yep. The top 5 pick he's plus 250 to be a top 5 pick, but I don't think he's going. If he doesn't go to the Jets, I don't think he's going top 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would rather just put it down on the 300.
I guess. I mean, the one thought that's gone through my head is, do we really know anything what the Texans are doing? Could we be freaking stunned tomorrow night and the Texans take?
I wouldn't be shocked if they took Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you just do a little half and half on that bet just to make sure you get something if he doesn't go to the Jets at number 4. But that's a nice little tidbit there, Joe.
Yeah,
add that to my card.
A Johnson over under is maybe a better bet. Under 9.5 is minus 150. I don't know if that's enough juice, Graham. You're gonna win that bet. That was a hell of a bet on your part.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if the Jets don't take him at 4, they're sure as shit gonna take him at 10. But 9.5 is.
Yeah, I got that at Fox Bet. Those poor guys over there, man. Some of their lines have been.
You're owning him. Philadelphia, the books are going like this right now.
Yeah.
Defensive line plus 250, receiver plus 300, corner plus 340. Offensive line, I can't see it, guys. I cannot. You'd never be shocked when the Eagles take an O-lineman. If they spent their first pick on one in this draft, I would be floored. But D-line, wide receiver.
Yeah, I feel like wide receiver is the best play here, plus 300. It's a little bit more juice. If they make any kind of move up the board, I think it's for wide receiver. So I think that's probably the smart play to go. And, you got the Saints, pick them right behind you, who might go wide receiver there. We think there's going to be some, potentially a bunch of these receivers going in the teens there. So I think wide receiver plus 300 is probably the best value play there.
Yeah, I think Jameson Williams did an interview with Philly media today. Ooh. And they said, excuse me. And he said, they told me they'd love to see me across from Devontae.
Yeah.
But that stands with all the Jameson Williams hype. I think you got to go get this guy. Now, Ben Standig, who's had a very accurate mock draft in the past. I had him on the Fantasy Feast podcast today with Ross Tucker. He had Garrett Wilson falling to the Eagles. I think Nick Sirianni would run that card from Philadelphia to Las Vegas by himself if that was the case. But because it gets open. But I mean, I don't know if I've heard Drake London buzz. I do know this, guys. I do know I have heard some George Karlaftis buzz.
Yeah, he's a guy I didn't bring up at the top when you were asking about. He's the one getting like a bunch of negative buzz here. He's the over on his draft position's been moving.
Yeah,
so young.
That's what I'm like. That it's like so bizarre. Like he's a pretty toolsy kind of prospect. He's very young, like you said, Joe. I don't know. Pretty confused by that one.
Yeah, that he fits the profile.
Unless that's like a big smoke screen and the Eagles are putting out. Maybe it's the Eagles putting it out there. They want him.
Yeah.
What's funny about him is like he kind of fits the profile of a guy who you would think is rising as we get closer to the draft because of the age and the traits profile. Yeah,
we're talking about all the edge guys that are going. There's going to be some runs on edge guys. So it's kind of confusing on him, but maybe he is in play for the Eagles there.
Well, here we go, T-Bro. Pittsburgh. The Stees, heavy favorite. Quarterback -125. Then linemen, both offensive and defensive, +500.
Yeah, I would be betting on the quarterback still at -125. I think you can find better numbers out there. I think there's some closer to +100s out there, but we jumped on that last week on the stream. I think it was. I can't remember. It was like +150 maybe or +170. That value is definitely gone. But these quarterbacks are falling. They have a need. They haven't been shy about how much they want to take a quarterback. Mike Tomlin's been at the pro days from Malik Willis, hamming it up with them. So I could see them even potentially moving up to take Willis if he falls into the teens. Maybe one of these teams wants to move back and get an extra pick or two. I just see the Steelers taking a quarterback here. Maybe offensive line. There's been some offensive tackle buzz. I know you brought that up last week as well, Graham, that maybe offensive line has a little bit of value. Yeah. But I just have a hard time seeing them, especially Kevin Colbert's leaving here. This is his last draft. I think it's a quarter potentially future in the building here this year before he leaves. So I think it's quarterback or bust for them right now.
And from what I understand, that will not make my Yinzer friends very happy.
Yeah. Tom, I broke down this morning. I found a Malik Willis exact pick to the Steelers for +250. So yeah, I just bet that this morning. I'm with you. I think that's where it just makes so much sense. I mean, they telegraphed their pick with Najee Harris last year. Yes. They wanted Pat Freiermuth too. They said I read something where they were going to pick Freiermuth in the first round if they didn't take Najee, and they still got him.
Really? Yeah. I know they were. Yeah, that was a report. I think Bouchette had it. He's obviously, or maybe it was Dulac. I can't remember. They're both very connected, and that was like the weekend before, and it was.
Yeah. I mean, they've
definitely.
Yeah, they've been telling me.
It feels like they're trying to cover up a little bit this year with the offensive line, the offensive tackle spot. But
sure,
I think they're trying to do a better job. But I think their intentions were pretty well out there all through February and March that they were going to quarterback, and Malik Willis specifically.
Yep. San Francisco, guys, another team that doesn't have a first-round pick. They don't pick until 61st overall.
But I think we should touch on this one a little bit.
Oh.
If they move Debo.
Yeah, they'll get a first.
That's why wide receiver here is at +145. They get a first-round pick from the Jets or whoever would be trading for Debo. I think wide receiver is probably the smart way to go. Just in case they do move him. But if they wouldn't, I have cornerback would probably be the play I would think. So I mean, doesn't seem like Debo's getting moved, so I'll probably stay away from this prop. But if you think that Debo would be getting moved, I think receiver would be the bet to lay here.
Man, I'm with you. I think the whole Debo thing has been a humongous. I could see them extending him tomorrow and giving him a huge contract. I think it's been all smoke on both sides.
Lynch was talking earlier this week, and he was building them up and about how much they need them, and it seems like there might be a bit of a misunderstanding or whatever. I think they do want to keep him in the building. They love him, I think so. I think they'll straighten things out, but. If he would get moved, I think wide receiver would probably be obviously the top spot where they would want to address with just Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings behind him. So it'd be that would go to a major weakness if they would move Debo.
Yeah.
Here's another team that could do anything with the 9th pick. That's Seattle. Lineman plus 190, quarterback plus 230, defensive line plus 340, corner plus 430. Defensive line, interesting if you think Jordan Davis is a Seahawks kind of player.
Yeah, the one thing I don't see is quarterback.
I don't either. I don't think that should be the second favorite.
Yeah, I don't get that plus 230. I think plus 340 for D line is real nice because Thibodeau could fall too. I mean, if some of that early Thibodeau smoke was true, I mean he could get to 9. I don't think he will, but yeah, plus 340 is nice, real nice.
Yeah, I could see cornerback too, but now Stingley's kind of out of the mix. But they could be one of the teams that maybe moves back and gets a little bit extra, and maybe they go McDuffie in the teens. So maybe a little bit of cornerback. But yeah, I'm with you. Offensive line. I guess Dwayne Brown still hasn't re-signed, has he?
Nope.
So I guess that's probably why that's the favorite. And it seems like one of these tackles might be there at 8 or 9, but.
I do know Seahawks fans are going to jump off the top of the stadium if they take Penning there at 9.
Oh my gosh.
That would be because the Seahawks do not give a shit about big boards. They always make hilarious first-round picks. So.
Yeah.
I think they'd much rather than reach for Willis or one of those quarterbacks than Trevor Penning, but we'll see. They are all over the map with some of their picks. The Raiders are obviously the kings with Gruden and Mayock, but those guys are gone. So Seattle's at the top of the list.
Yeah,
I love teams that make hilarious first-round picks, by the way.
No more Damon Arnett in the first round.
Yeah, Clellan Farrell.
Good God, man.
Bucks. Offensive line plus 145, corner plus 250, D line plus 270.
D line, man.
You like that, man?
Yeah, the Sue is not going to come back. I don't think. I think Devontae White makes a ton of sense. We were talking about the UConn guy, Travis Jones. He makes a ton of sense. I think D line is really strong.
Yeah, that's definitely the value play there. Offensive line is obviously a big need there. They've lost a bunch of guys with the retirement and in free agency. But yeah, I'm with Graham here. Plus 270 seems like, and they've prided themselves with these strong defensive lines. I think they want to replenish that as quickly as possible. And plus 270 looks like a little bit of value there.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. But yeah, of course, offensive line does make a lot of sense. You lose both your guards in the offseason. Now, the thing that's interesting to me about that, though, is I don't think Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green are falling that far. And those are now maybe you take Linderbaum, but he's kind of center only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. We'll touch on the next team here. I have the Titans taking offensive line, and they pick right before the Buccaneers. So I kind of agree with you, Joe. I think Green or Johnson, if those guys are there at 26, I think they're going to Tennessee instead. So it's almost like it's a good correlate. If you want to go like a little bit of correlated bets there, Titans at offensive line, and Tampa Bay has to, if their guy is taken, they have to go defensive line.
But I will say, sorry, Graham, you go ahead.
No, I was just sitting here thinking I need to take plus 270 for D line for the Bucks right now. I'm going to do that.
Get it done.
Position of Tennessee, first drafted player. O-line plus 210, wide receiver 340, D-line 340, corner 430, quarterback 500. So they are not buying is FanDuel. That I know a lot of people have been saying the Titans could surprise and take a quarterback. FanDuel not necessarily buying that at plus 500.
I think that has moved significantly. I think it was, plus 800, plus 1,000. It was a much higher number. So they have taken it down some, but yeah, it's clearly not one of the betting favorites. And I don't think so. We touched on it a little bit last week that, man, are you really, you're the number one seed in the AFC last year. You play in the shitty AFC South and you're going to punt your first round pick for the third straight year.
Yeah.
Does that make a lot of sense? But I'm just one man. I think he's continue to go for it. Everybody's talking like Ryan Tannehill was like god awful last year. He's over the hill at 33 years old. Like, I think you got to keep building around him. Like this is this team is built to go for it now in a division that freaking sucks. So, I think they continue to go offensive line or what, maybe it's receiver. Maybe they try to build it for Tannehill. I do think they build, the offense around him, not, draft his replacement.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, your team's built around a running back.
Yeah.
So, exactly. Not exactly what you would consider the most sustainable build.
Who might be breaking down, had a major foot injury, but you might have another year or two with him. So, yeah, you give him an offensive lineman.
Yep.
All right, finally, the Durs, the Commanders, the final team we will be talking about here. Position of their first player, not shocked at all, guys, to see receiver at plus 145, corner plus 250, O-line plus 550, and having seen safety, I saw Kyle Hamilton mock to them a ton, plus 650. One of these teams is going to take Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through it right before you said that, and plus 650 stands out to me too. I mean, receivers heavy favorite for good reason. They got to get McLaurin,
right?
But yeah, plus 650 is nice.
I don't think I mentioned anybody having safety as their favorite. Well, it's a very good safety draft, and multiple safeties are going to go in the first round of this draft. So I'm somebody's taking Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, I did give this out, Joe. I think it's going to be receiver. And it's good reason why it's plus 145. But Ron Rivera, defensive kind of guy. They got shredded in the secondary last year. They were always the team that we were picking against for fantasy last year. I don't know what the touchdowns and yardage was against them. I had it in my article, but they were top 3 or top 5 in terms of yardage and touchdowns, allowed last year in the secondary. So, I mean, if Ron Rivera has a heavy thumb on this pick, I feel like it might be Kyle Hamilton if he's there.
And I think maybe the notion could be that one of these teams with 2 picks in the top 10 could take Kyle Hamilton, in which case he wouldn't be somebody's first pick. But safety is going to be somebody's first pick, I think, in this draft. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to look at there. I think for odds for what I think is a very possible pick, that might be one of the biggest, that might stand out more than maybe anything we've seen so far today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other team was Minnesota's right behind them. He's at, they're plus 600 to take them. It's probably going to be Hamilton. So, that's another one if you want to take a look at where that, Kyle Hamilton might go in that your early teens there, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to let Kukanis maybe eat himself some damn dinner.
Yeah, that's true.
Before the Mexico Open final point stream with Dom Centurino.
You guys aren't going to wish me good luck tomorrow? I mean, making my PGA debut, I'm teeing off. They needed an extra guy for the field. It was
congratulations.
So, I'm at 1 million to 1, but, I'm feeling pretty good going into my first PGA event here.
I'll put a buck on you at 1 million to 1, Tom.
You're wasting $1.
Well, guys, I've had a great time. Remember to use the code COSEL22 to subscribe to the draft guide if you haven't already. I'm literally, as we were doing this live stream, putting the finishing touches on some of the prospects he sent today. But he already asked me, he's like, who are some more guys I need to do who have slipped through the cracks? He's a one-man scouting service. He sent over 170 players. They're great. We got a mock draft in there, which is going to lose its relevance in 24 hours. We've got Wes Huber's Devy rankings. Our rookie rankings are going to be consistently updated. I'm so thrilled to be able to bring that to you. But make sure you go to fantasypoints.com and subscribe to the website. For Tom Brolley and Graham Barfield, this has been a fantastic chat. My name's Joe Dolan. Good luck tomorrow. And, hey, interact with our team on the live stream. Interact with us in our staff Discord, our subscriber Discord tomorrow. This trio will see you all Friday night. I had a good time, and I am looking forward to draft weekend. See you, everybody.